Let me ask you something. What if solitude isn't something to escape from? That's something you're being pulled toward. What if stepping away from people isn't a sign that something is wrong with you, but a sign that something inside you is growing? Most people are taught that happiness lives in noise, in crowds, in constant interaction, in staying busy, distracted, entertained. But some minds don't work that way. Some people feel drained, not energized by constant social life, not because they hate others, but because their inner world is louder, deeper, more alive than most environments allow. And if you've ever felt this, you're not alone. Here's the truth most people never hear. Many people surround themselves with noise because silence forces them to face themselves. Distraction. It removes the mask, and that takes courage. But for those who think deeply, who feel deeply, silence isn't threatening. It's magnetic. Not because they're superior, but because shallow environments suffocate depth. You may have noticed this yourself. You can sit in a room full of people, laughter everywhere, conversation buzzing, and still feel completely disconnected. Not because the people are bad, but because the interaction stays on the surface. Small talk, repetition, predictable emotions. And your mind wants more. It wants meaning. It wants honesty. It wants something real. Social interaction costs energy for everyone, but for people who process everything intensely, the cost is higher. You don't just hear words, feel, tone. You don't just see expressions, you sense intention. You don't just participate, you absorb. So when the interaction lacks depth, it feels like spending energy with no return. That's when solitude stops feeling like loneliness and starts feeling like relief. Because solitude gives you something rare: uninterrupted thought, space to breathe mentally, room to connect ideas, time to observe yourself without performing for anyone. This is where clarity forms, and clarity changes everything. You begin to notice how much of social life requires negotiation, adjusting yourself, filtering your thoughts, shrinking your curiosity just enough to fit in. For many people, this is easy. For you, it feels like friction. You can't pretend for long yourself without feeling fragmented. So you retreat, not to escape others, but to remain whole. This is why meaningful connections matter so much to you. You don't want many relationships, you want true ones. You'd rather talk for hours with one person who understands silence than spend 10 minutes in conversation that goes nowhere. You feel more intensely than most people realize. You notice shifts. You sense when someone isn't present. You feel when authenticity is missing. And when it is missing, you withdraw. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to waste emotional energy on emptiness. This is also why social exhaustion hits you differently. After gatherings, your mind doesn't shut off. It replays. It analyzes. It connects dots others never saw. Every gesture, every contradiction, every emotional undercurrent. Your brain processes layers upon layers of information. Eventually, it needs silence, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. And here's the part few people understand. Solitude doesn't make you disconnected from life. It makes you more capable of engaging with it. When you step away, your mind enters a different state. Ideas connect. Creativity wakes up. Insight sharpens. In quiet moments, you confront yourself honestly. You process emotions others suppress. You understand your fears, your desires, your values. You don't run from yourself. You explore yourself. And that exploration builds strength. It makes you less dependent on validation. Reactive. More grounded. You learn to listen before speaking, to observe before judging, to think before reacting. Silence trains you. And in a world addicted to noise, those who master silence stand out naturally. But here's the deepest truth of all. You don't withdraw because you dislike the world. You withdraw because you're preparing to contribute to it in a meaningful way. Every real insight is born in quiet. Every original idea requires distance. Every truth needs space to emerge. Solitude is not the end of the journey. It's the place where purpose takes shape. And when you return, whether briefly or fully, you return clearer, calmer, more authentic. You bring something back with you. Perspective, wisdom, depth. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's alignment. It's not emptiness, it's incubation. And if you've ever felt guilty for needing space, for preferring quiet, for walking away from shallow environments, understand this. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not withdrawing from life. You are meeting it at a deeper level.